Hello, everyone. It's good to see you back here at Silver Tears Tarot. And of course, a warm welcome to anyone who is new. So, here we are already at the February new moon. This one's going to be in Pisces. So, it's one of the things that we have to look forward to with this moon. We'll be a little bit more sensitive to the energies that are happening around us. So if you've got one of those situations where you've still been having a lot of trouble connecting to your higher self, to your intuition, you may find that during this period that gets a little bit easier for you now. So, of course, these are general readings. If it resonates with you, please do feel free to subscribe. And if it's not going to resonate with everybody, but one of the things that I've noticed is that all these readings on this channel, whether they are soulmate or otherwise, have been very much connected. So if you feel like you've got resonance with this one and you have need of a soulmate reading, this might be a good channel to subscribe to. So we're going to start here with your energetic backdrop right now. And this is just you, your energetic backdrop. This is a general reading for your life in general. And we see the Three of Swords. So the feeling that comes with the Three of Swords is a feeling of sadness. It's a feeling, though, of recognition of that sadness and being able to kind of think about it and move with it and be okay. So you're aware of something that has created sadness, and maybe you're in a lot of that sadness, but maybe, and it feels like this is true with a lot of you, you're starting to work your way out of it. So that's a really nice emotion, even though there is the sadness that is kind of what brings everything all together. The fact that there is movement in this is a nice thing. So we'll get in a little bit closer to clarify with the classic tarot here when I get finished laying them all out. And so I'm reading for you with the Tarot del Toro. And we're going to look now at what is coming towards you in this time of the new moon. So this may be something that you're already starting to kind of experience because the energy of the moon, it doesn't wait until that phase occurs. It's really you'll start to feel it a little bit ahead of time. So remember, we had that connection with your intuition called into question, that connection with your intuition, with your higher self. And so that is something that as you move into your time, as you move into the new moon and your energy around this time, that's something you're really going to be thinking about. So what sticks out for me here, though, is that it's going to be a little bit difficult to discern some things. So there is this sense that with the new moon, the veil comes off a little bit. You're going to be able to see a little bit more clearly, but you might not feel like it. So we'll have to see what that's all about when we get in there to clarify. Let's check first to see what sticks out the most. What sticks out the most across this time frame where the energy of the new moon is the strongest? Okay, so we've got oop, too many cards. We've got the Six of Cups, and that's about thinking about the past. It's a confident, or it's a not confident. That's not the word I'm looking for. It is. It's a nostalgic sort of feeling about, it's a positive feeling about the past, a nostalgic feeling of things, maybe remembering them with in a more positive light, and maybe even with an awareness of doing so. It's not necessarily a bad thing if you recognize that you're casting a more positive light on it, or simply choosing not to spend as much time on the negatives. But that's one of the things that sticks out the most, is almost this sense of optimistic nostalgia. um, and then we'll have to see a little bit more about what's coming with regard to that connection to your higher self and with your intuition. But this is also going to be a feeling of secrets coming out, new truths coming out to you. So, not necessarily truths that are new in nature, but they may feel a little bit new to you as they're coming out. Those are going to be coming primarily through your intuition and your higher self. So, that connection, I still feel like, is a little bit better than what you might be thinking it is. Or at least it's coming into being a little bit better than what you might be giving it credit for, because over the last few weeks and months, a lot of folks have noticed a little bit of a dampening there. As we move towards springtime, though, with the exception of a few places where we'll have some, I guess, astrological interference, where we should be moving toward a place of being able to make a better connection. So let's look at what a critical energy is that is acting upon you at the time of the new moon. And we have the Six of Wheels. So this is like the Six of Pentacles. It's earth energy. And what's cool about this is that it's about focusing on equal give and take. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will always have equal give and take in all of your situations, especially not just all of a sudden when you snap your fingers, it's the new moon, and suddenly you would have that equal give and take. It's not so much that, but it's that awareness of it. It's that and we've even seen that in some of the recent soulmate readings that your person, if you have a soulmate that you're paired with, has become or is a lot more aware of maybe the impact that they've had on the situation, the impact they've had on you. They've become aware of the fact that they maybe didn't have as much equal give and take. However, that is only part of this picture. Part of it is also that you're very aware of it, and that as you watch things go forward, and as you allow things to go forward, you what you'll notice is that you become a little bit more focused on maybe being able to accomplish that equal give and take. And in relationships, whether they be work relationships, business relationships, personal, family, romantic relationships, it doesn't really matter. It's about having that equal give and take. And you're going to be more aware of when it's not happening and more able to kind of guide things back to where it is. So let's take a look into those hidden energies. And that's going to be, what you can't see from where you're standing, but might help to ease a misunderstanding. Okay, so there is a situation where somebody has not, it doesn't seem like someone has worked really well with you. But the truth of the matter is, it's not so much that they didn't want to work well with you. Something is standing in the way or has been standing in the way of their cooperation and actually even of their communication on this. So that one will definitely have to jump in here and clarify. But I guess before we jump into clarify, we're going to ask one more question, and that's going to be what you can be doing at this time to prepare for what's coming. So keep in mind, what we've got coming is kind of this sense of maybe new truths coming out, and those would be coming through your intuition, but you may not feel like you're actually as connected to your intuition as you need to be. Turns out you're probably more connected than you realize. There's also this sense of very positively directed nostalgia, I guess I'd call it. And that's what you're heading towards. So let's see what you can be doing right now to more be more prepared for that, to better prepare for the energy of where you're coming. Is there, or the energy of where you're headed? This is This is an interesting question because it changes with the energy of where you're headed. And the thing is, with the energy of where you're headed, this is what's where you're inclined to go. You have your free will that basically always allows you to make some adjustments to your course if you feel like you're not headed in a direction that you want to go. So we've got the magician that has come out here in the reverse, and what it's telling us. So this is an interesting message. What it's telling us is not to be too worried about it if it feels like we don't have control of the situation or are having a difficult time manifesting. There are some perception questions going on here, and it reminds me a little bit of what's happening with this high priestess here, but a little bit of the perception that you are not doing something where you actually are doing quite well with it. So if you're getting the sense and you're feeling a little down on yourself about not being able to manifest, not being able to connect, just be aware those are both kind of perceptions. So even just recognizing how far you've come and recognizing that this is really more of a perception that comes and goes, that may be beneficial for you as you move into this. It gives you a little bit of that perspective that you need. So let's get in and clarify. We're going to start first with this Three of Swords that is in that energetic backdrop. And one of the things that I love about this deck is a lot of the cards. It's not super evident whether they are in the upright or in the reverse, and so I'm completely free to read the combination of upright and reverse energies, and without feeling like what percentage is it, what is the audience going to think, because we're all seeing it kind of the same way. And I do, with this Three of Swords, see some evidence of the upright feeling and some of the reversed feeling. So it's about they're feeling that feeling of sadness. You're feeling that feeling of sadness, but there's also this feeling of coming away from that sadness. And so that's one of the things that, again, one of the things that I love about this deck, because sometimes you get it and it's like with that Six of Cups, it's very much the Six of Cups upright. But sometimes with this Three of Swords, for example, you get it. It's not as clear. So we've got the Fool that has come out in reverse for us here to talk about the Three of Swords, as well as the Queen of Swords in reverse. And remember, this is in your energetic backdrop. So this is that healing, that ongoing healing experience that is happening, that is helping you to process what you've learned as you've been working through an awakening. It's not necessarily trying to jump into something just yet, or you don't even necessarily have the energy of that. And it's not out of fear or anything like that. It's more a sense of it's just not time yet. You've gotten some incredible lessons in discernment over the last few months, and I've been watching this happen. It's been an honor to watch it happen. So we see evidence of that here with this Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords is talking a little bit about how in the upright, you will often see her decisively cutting things out, decisively removing things. And sometimes she does so hastily. She maybe would benefit from putting a little bit more thinking into it. She's incredibly logical, so it isn't so much that. It's a matter of her making a hasty or a rash decision. So here in the reverse, we see no need for a hasty or a rash decision, and so there's no need to jump into the unknown just yet. It's a matter of, it's kind of a calm sort of feeling. It's that calm sort of feeling that you might have on, a day that you don't have to get up and be somewhere. You don't have to get up and do anything. Um, Maybe you're up before the dawn and you don't have to, there's no need to rush. There's no need to make any sweeping, bizarre, quick decisions, and you have time to just kind of sit in your thoughts. No need to jump into something rash. So that's a feeling that kind of is pervasive throughout here. That's that energetic backdrop for you, which is a very nice energetic backdrop to be evaluating something like what's happening with this high priestess. So you've got some new truths that are coming out that are not necessarily truth, or not necessarily new truths. They're more universal truths that hadn't ever quite presented themselves to you quite that way. It's almost like a new perspective. But again, there's still that nagging feeling that you're not going to be as connected with your inner self and your intuition, your higher self as you might want to be, and that may be more of an illusion than is evident. Yeah, you've got a good balance going there. That's a good balanced emperor, not an arrogant one, but one that has a reasonable, very high level, as a matter of fact, of self awareness. So trust, you have to trust. And also, everything's not going to work in your favor. So if you're expecting to see a little bit of resistance, you won't be disappointed during this time. But by the same token, you're going to be able to work through it all kind of almost with a casual air of confidence, getting a little bit of that. So here, let's take a look at the Six of Cups here. And this is that energy that sticks out the most. It reminds me, now that we've got clarification for this Three of Swords, it reminds me almost of that, because this nostalgia, it's like this heartbreak, this sadness is turning into something that's a little bit more of a fond memory. I love the sound of that, because it's not really in denial of the fact that there's heartbreak. It's more of that. So when we get the Five of Cups in reverse, okay, and it's one of those meanings for the Five of Cups in reverse that I really like, because you see the person and they're looking at and I know the Five of Cups isn't even here, but I'm feeling it. When we see when we see it in the upright, we see that person is focusing on the three downed cups that everything all is lost. But behind them, there are these two perfectly good cups that are still standing there with all of the possibility in the world. And so when that card goes into the reverse, sometimes for me, it feels like they're getting that more well rounded view. And that's what I get from these. It's almost like that kind of feeling that I get from these. It's a more well rounded perspective. That emotional self mastery that you guys have been really looking for, I think that you're going to feel the edges of it. That is a wonderful, oof, Sorry. A wonderful feeling to have that self mastery um, that's going to help you to guide you through what would otherwise be potentially a difficult thing, but you're still going to have the edges of that. So here's our Five of Cups that we were just talking about. And you see the person sitting there focused on the three cups the three downed cups that have no capacity to hold liquid, no capacity to hold that liquid represents emotion. But back here, you've got all that possibility. So there is still a need to get this Three of Swords is not completely reversed. There's still a sense of heartbreak, and there's still a sense of needing to be able to work past enough of that heartbreak to be able to turn this Five of Cups upside down into the reverse, which is the way that I would really like to see it for you, because that has you not denying the sadness, but working it in. But what you've got here is the precursor of that. I mean, we can't rush it. I'm not going to try and rush it for you. I just know that once you get to that place, it's going to be a lot easier for you to evaluate your energy on a daily basis. So let's take a look at this Six of Wheels, Six of Pentacles. It's that Earth energy. I know it's really the Six of Wheels. We'll take a look at it here, see what wants to come out to clarify. And remember, Page of Wands. Okay, inspiration. This was the critical energy that's acting upon you at this time. So you're realizing that there's a situation here that hasn't been completely equal give and take. Okay. But you're better able to identify this now, and you actually have a lot more energy to put toward this than you did before. So there has been some time where you were healing from something. You have been healing from something that has had that unequal give and take, and you've made some really big strides. So here we have here's the six of that very same card. This is the six of Pentacles, but it's in reverse. So the give and take not being equal, which is telling me you're running into something that's not stable, not equal. This is not part of it. We're just going to take the top cards. Most of the time, I just take the top cards. But here, if you guys have seen any of the extendeds I've done recently, or any of those pop-up readings where we do like a soulmate snapshot, sometimes those cards just keep coming. So I never know. But for this, okay, so we've got the critical energy that's impacting you at this time. We've got this realization that you now can better identify it when something isn't coming to you with an equal give and take, and you're going to have the opportunity to look at this. This is an unstable sort of situation that when you see it, despite the fact that you are fully capable of evaluating and um, jumping into it and understanding what you're looking at, you're not necessarily going to move forward. And that's what I get up here. You're not moving forward into the unknown. You're giving yourself a little bit of time to understand what it is that you're looking at and evaluating it. Because sometimes, and we saw that with the lesson of the 10 of Cups, we saw over and over, sometimes just being aware that something is or isn't too good to be true is not necessarily all the information that we need to understand how to handle it. So if somebody's coming towards you with a less than equal approach, you have some options. It's not always just to rebuff them and say, I won't deal with you. Sometimes that's not even possible. Other times there are better ways to kind of correct the inequality and get to a place that makes a little bit more sense. It's tougher in those established relationships, but no reason you can't still jump in and steer things in the right direction. So let's take a look at these hidden energies, what you can't see from where you're currently standing. Somebody was a lot more cooperative than it probably looked like. There has been a situation where someone was not, didn't come across as particularly cooperative, but they wanted things to be right. It just didn't come across the right way, and it didn't go very well. This is the tiniest little 10 of Swords that I've ever seen, but for them, it's huge because they feel like they've made some kind of huge um, mistake that can never be corrected, and they just wanted things to be right. And if you knew this, you would understand. So that's a hidden energy that wants to come out for you. Be aware that there's a situation where someone tried to do right and it really just didn't work out. It didn't end up looking right. It was like you walked in at the wrong time, or something happened and it's over, like it ended, and it's probably not as big of a deal in your world as it is in theirs, even though it may be kind of a big deal in your world. So let's take a look at this magician. This is what you can be doing at this time to prepare for what's coming. And it's just kind of remember, there was a lot of perception in this one. There was a lot of, maybe you don't feel like a supreme manifester at this time. Maybe you feel like you've had a missed opportunity. Maybe you feel like you're unable to make the cross the distance between yourself and someone else, or between yourself and what you want, your current place and what you want, with regard to a decision that has to be made, because there's a sense of a crossroads here, but there's also a sense of an emotional distance that is causing you to miss an opportunity that does not necessarily have to be missed. I get that sense again of a decision that seems like it's not really a choice, but it's only not being a choice because you're not able to back up and take a look at the big picture. So, what you are perceiving as a missed opportunity here may not actually be. Take a look closer and see if you can understand, maybe if there's an impasse that's actually generating some of that resistance, or if maybe it's a matter of perception. So, I'm going to grab you a quick advice card. So I didn't go with the moon oracle today. I know I usually do when it's a new moon or a full moon, or I often do. I like to go with the moon oracle, but I was called to use a different one today. So this is the Starry Beginnings oracle, and it is one that will probably speak for itself. But this is just a little bit of advice for you during this time. So the one that, oh, all right. So the card that comes out for you, and I'll hold it up for you here in just a moment. To trust what you need is there. With love, all can be accomplished. So that's pretty much, I mean, that reinforces this. It reinforces this. You may have this sense that maybe your connection isn't as strong as it needs to be, or maybe as strong even as it is. You may have this sense that you're not as great of a manifester as you actually are at this time. It's a matter of, once again, and we've been seeing this message come out, whether it's been in kind of the main readings or in some of these extendeds, but it's a matter of moving out of your own way. Instead of creating an obstacle, make sure that you're, sometimes we get in our own way as we're trying to clear obstacles from our path. And it's a little bit convenient because maybe we didn't want to move forward that quickly anyway. And that comes from another thing that has shown up in some of these readings, and that's a fear of success because of the relation or the responsibility that comes along with it. So that is a legitimate something to think about. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. This is your new moon reading. I hope this has been helpful. I will not be putting an extended on the end of this because it was gave us a little bit of a mic drop at the end, and because the rest of it seemed like it tied up in pretty much what we were looking for. But give me a note if you feel like you didn't get all your questions answered, or if you feel like you have a question that you'd like to see answered in one of these readings. I've been doing some of the pop-up readings to answer some of those inbox questions, and then, sometimes it's just a matter of working it in to the regular schedule. So let me know if you have things like that, and I look forward to seeing you again in another reading.